Am I an idiot for calling out my sister's boyfriend for potentially poisoning my partner? I, female 25, volunteered to cook the Christmas dinner for my family yesterday. My parents are getting older, so I would feel guilty sitting back whilst they did all the work. Also, we have the added complication of my partner, male 32, being celiac. I'm used to cooking for us both and making sure everything is safe and gluten-free. Me and my family are also all veggie, vegan. My sister, female 20, and her boyfriend, male 21, have been dating for a few months. He doesn't have a great relationship with his family, so we invited him to join us for the holidays. We'd not met him before this, so a couple of days before Christmas, my sister rang me, saying her BF had been complaining about being forced to have meat, gluten-free dinner. I told her that he was more than welcome to bring something for himself and that I'd be happy to cook it for him, but asked if he could please not bring anything with gluten in, as it could make my partner really ill. Anyway, cut to yesterday and I cooked the duck he brought first and leave it to rest. Pretty much the whole time he was lurking over my shoulder, smirking, and making comments about how it must be weird to go back on my values. I told him that I didn't mind and that I used to cook some meat stuff for my partner before he went veggie, as long as he bought it with his own money. 10 minutes before I was about to plate up, the most stressful time, he comes back into the kitchen, saying he's starving as the food's taking too long, and wants to eat some of his duck. Obviously I was a bit irritated as it was literally the worst timing, but said okay. He was about to leave the room when I saw he put the duck in a small baguette. I asked where he'd got it from and he said he'd brought it with him. I panicked and flew around the kitchen, cleaning up all the crumbs he'd made and throwing away any food that wasn't covered. I was so stressed out and close to tears. My partner wasn't diagnosed with celiac disease until his late 22nd and his digestive system is in a bad way. His doctors have said the next gluten incident could put him in the hospital, with him possibly needing to have a stoma bag for the rest of his life. We finally sat down to dinner and my family all thanked me for cooking. My sister's BF chimes in, saying that he helped cook. Well, I completely lost it. I told everyone that not only did he not help, he risked spiking my partner by bringing gluten into the kitchen. Everyone was horrified, especially my sister, who had no idea he'd brought the bread. He refused to apologize and said he didn't realize what the big deal was, which resulted in him getting chewed out by my mom and dad. He ate, excused himself and holed up in my sister's room for the rest of the night. I feel like I might be a toff for blowing up at him in front of everyone, especially since he went home this morning, telling my sister he didn't feel welcome here. So Reddit, am I an idiot? Update, there's some good and bad news. Good, that he is now my sister's ex. They had a huge blowout over the phone not long after he left, where he admitted that he thinks dietary requirements are for attention seekers and that vegans in particular are Nazis. He confessed he'd been secretly feeding my sister meat products, swapping fake meat nuggets for chicken, using meat stock instead of veg. Their whole relationship, and laughed that she'd not been vegetarian for the whole 5 months of their relationship. She's been vegan since birth. We were all absolutely horrified, but so glad he showed his true colors early on in the relationship. My sister is doing a lot better now as it all transpired quite a few months ago. She was more angry than upset and we all banded around her. She's relieved to know the stomach problems she had at the time were most likely down to the unfamiliar foods being introduced into the diet, rather than a medical problem. She was worried she might have early onset celiac after comparing her symptoms to my partner. She's had no digestive issues since they broke up, so go figure. For those asking why he isn't close to his family, it seems as though the arsehole doesn't fall far from the tree as his parents sound pretty horrible, which is one of the reasons we all felt sorry for him initially. Not the idiot. I don't get people like that ex. What possible endgame is being aimed for? Did he hope to someday pull a big reveal and she would suddenly go, oh what a fool I've been, thanks for showing me the light? Has that ever happened in the history of ever? Not the idiot. Wow, good for your sister. Celiac and vegetarian here. The boyfriend was an ass. Yeah, if you haven't eaten meat in a really long time, your body apparently stops being able to process those proteins, which means he really could have messed her up. Is he wrong for essentially ending their relationship? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for telling my sister the real reason why my parents haven't come to see my newborn son? Me, male 26, and my boyfriend, male 26, had a baby less than a couple weeks ago. My boyfriend is trans, born female then transitioned to male, but I knew him for years before he came out, and I was in love with him all those years. He was too. That didn't change after he came out, but it was a lot to mentally process for me. We had a drunken one-night stand and he found out he got pregnant. We're together as a couple raising our son. My family knows everything about this, but they are huge transphobes. Before we got together they had lots of negative opinions when he started making changes. It bothered me so much. Then when I told them we were having a baby they lost their poop. A few months ago they seemed like they came around until they said maybe motherhood will change her mind, and yeah, I didn't want that poop around us. We had a fight. I told them they're not allowed around our baby until they accept my boyfriend and keep their poop to themselves. They haven't contacted me at all even after my son was born, so they told me they don't want to come around. My sister doesn't know about our fight. She was really excited to become an aunt, so a few days ago she came to meet him. When we were talking she said how come our parents haven't come, and I let her. They told her that I supposedly wasn't letting anyone meet the baby for a few months because my boyfriend said so, but I told her no. It pissed me off that they tried to put the blame on him, so I told her everything. And she was off mad. She even called them outside to yell at them. The thing is, my sister is like their golden child. They care way more about her and will do anything to be around. Like when she moved for college a few hours away, they moved too. Everything is for her. So she was so mad she stopped talking to them, and now they're mad because my sister is pulling away from them for how they're being with us. The reason they think I'm Ta and why I'm wondering if I am is because it was a separate issue between me and them and didn't involve her at all. But now she's involved and doesn't want anything to do with them, which they're super devastated about. If I made the right move telling her why. I'm very mad at them, so to them it comes off as petty telling her knowing how she would react. Am I an idiot? Update. As much as my parents' transphobia pissed me off, I honestly didn't want her to feel like she had to pick sides. She didn't even let me finish talking about how if she wanted to keep a relationship with them some point down the line, even if it doesn't include me or my son, she's free to do that. All she had to say about that was hell no, and that they're not a true family if they can't get past their bullshit for my sake or their grandkids, and she was so disgusted with them. My sister was really cool letting me know this is all on them 100%. It helped to have that reassurance, so I'm glad we were able to talk it out. She had her own thing about feeling sad about the whole situation, so for a while she was coming over a lot to watch my son while me and his daddy had some alone time. She basically pushed us out of our own place because she wanted auntie-nephew bonding time. My parents are blocked everywhere. We haven't heard from them in over a month. She's done trying to reason with them, so neither of us have any communication. Of course, that brought the wrath of the rest of our family, but once they heard why, they backed off a bit too. Aside from that drama, we are happy. My son's got an aunt that loves him so much. Also, my boyfriend and I, or should say husband, got married last weekend. A small courthouse ceremony, but it was still just as exciting and wonderful. My sister was there for support. Then we celebrated at my husband's family's house with our son. And there was a moment where my thoughts were on my parents, but then I reminded myself that they're the ones actually missing out. My sister being there as my support and reminding me every time that this was all their own fault helps me not feel too sad about it. My family's what's important in the end, not the idiot. Your sister sounds like a wonderful lady. It's so normal for you to feel mixed feelings about your family and the dynamics, but it sounds like you have the right perspective. They are missing out because they did this to themselves. The most important thing is that your baby will be surrounded by two loving dads, an auntie, and your husband's family, and won't have to deal with a toxic family situation because y'all protected your child from that. You are already amazing parents and people, and I'm so happy for you all. Would you block your parents if they pulled something like this? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for not going back to my home country for my sister's wedding? I, 28, immigrated to Canada 7 years ago. I got married after I was 21 and my husband was already living there and came back for marriage. It was arranged by my grandparents. It was strange at first, but I truly did love him. In my religion, remarriage is not prohibited. There is a part of it, if I say in English, that says husband and wife are not those who sit together but whose souls are shared. I feel like my husband's soul and mine are shared, and I have no interest in ever being with another man. My grandparents do not understand that. They want me to bring my kids back to my home country so they can get me remarried so my kids can have a dad. Even if I wanted to, there are so many unknowns in that scenario that I do not want to deal with. They have stopped asking me now, but I know it is what they want. My sister, 24, is getting married in June. And she badly wants me to be at her wedding. I would be lying if I said I did not want to go myself. From the way my grandparents were talking, I just know that if I go, they are going to try and get me married too. It's not a situation where I'd end up getting married. But I do not want to put up with the harassment and subject my kids to the idea that they might get a dad because they had a dad who loved them. When I told my sister that I was not going to be able to go, she got very upset with me. She called me selfish for not wanting to come after not seeing her for so many years. I pointed out how our grandparents are, but she said I should put up with it for a month for her. Maybe she is right, and I am being a jerk about this because we were so close before I left. To edit, my husband has passed away and so have my parents. Update. So after reading everybody's comments, I got worried that my grandparents may actually be planning to make me get married. So I called my brother and told him my fears. He called my sister and he told me he tricked her into revealing our grandparents' schemes. Apparently they were planning to get me married maybe at the same time as my sister or after. I do not know how they thought they could get away with it since the temple would never allow that, but it was their plan. So my brother told me I could either make it clear I was not going and end things publicly, or I could just do it secretly. I feel betrayed by my sister and I know my brother is angry with her, but the history of my people teaches us not to seek revenge, and that would hurt my sister's wedding and her reputation. So my brother bought me and my kids tickets, and the plan is to cancel and get my doctor to give some medical reason not to fly. My doctor is from our community and she will understand. I had to calm my brother down so he can still enjoy her wedding, since him being there is more important. It is sad that I cannot go back to my home country now, and I cannot take my kids there either, but Canada is a great place. Nobody here pressures me for a marriage, and every man and woman at work treats me and my situation with respect. My husband is not alive anymore, but I know our souls are together forever. I am sad that my first home no longer believes, but I will never stop. Comment. Wait, why is your brother buying tickets just for you to cancel anyway? Can't you just lie and say that you're coming but cancel anyway? Also, you're too nice. I would not give a single poop about how public it looks, and just tell your sister and grandparents off. They have no respect for you or your husband. This just reminds me of when my sister-in-law died, and literally the day after, all our relatives came to my brother and told him he needed to get remarried soon. I wanted to punch them all in the face. Don't know how my brother held it together for that. Original poster. My grandparents are very strict and always require proof, and since they are suspicious I do not want to come, they will likely demand proof. So the tickets are so that when they ask, things will not be ruined for my sister's sake and my brother does not end up in a fight when he goes. Thank you. does make me very angry too, but I am how I am and I would rather try and be happy and not be fighting with people across the world. Not the idiot. My grandpa passed really young from a heart attack. My grandma raised 6 kids on her own. When I was older I asked her why she never even dated after grandpa died. She said she'd crawl through glass to have 1 minute with him again and she'd just live the life they had planned because it made her happy. She wasn't against remarrying, but she'd met her love and that was enough.